Hi everyone. I got this. Here I am. Here I am. Hey. Testing, testing. Hi Army. Hello, hello Kitty, Josette Dimano, Joe Fermin. Hello, Joe Fermin and Flor Lasco. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I hope my sound is okay. My name is Ricardo Cepeda. I'm an actor. Jobeth Cruz Fabre. Good evening. Hi, Jobeth. PM ka mamaya. PM ka mamaya. Where to buy? Jolie Winter. Oh, yes, Jolie. I keep looking. I cannot remember it. Alright, alright. Si, question ni, Jobeth Cruz Fabre. Ask ko lang sana makabili ng Ivermectin. My husband and I are both senior citizens. O nga, kasi di ba? Kasi, I think someone will PM you about that, Jobeth, no? Can you PM your questions about that, no? So what we're talking about now, I'm supposed to have as a guest today, si Doc Iggy Albayani, and he's coming on, but he cannot be on at 6 o'clock because biglaan he was guested. He was asked to be a guest. Pinaguest siya sa isang TV show, news channel na biglaan they asked him over, and syempre may yan, and we're really trying to get the word about ivermectin out there. So of course, priority yan. It's mainstream TV. And si Doc, I messaged him and tried to ask him kung ano yung channel, but he didn't mention kung anong channel yun. So, yeah, ito yung sagot niya. Let me see. Good afternoon, Doc. DZMM, ABS-CBN. Pwede ba namin kayo ma-interview via Zoom mamayang 6 p.m. regarding ivermectin for COVID? Sa program po ni Peter Musni at Rica Lazo. Pero si Doc is not sure kung live ito. Pero Zoom eh. It's a Zoom, So, diba? ABS-CBN. On yung teleradyo nilang DZMM. So, si Doc is down there, but he's gonna be coming on at 6:30 p.m. So, inaabangan ko lang si Doc sasali dito. And we'll see, no? Dang Dantes, hello. Jolie Winter, you're welcome. Herbert Custudio, I'm using ivermectin now. Sabi ni Herbert, I'm using ivermectin now, and I feel so young and energetic. Wow. Galing, Herbert, galing. In fact, that's what a lot of people are reporting. Ganyan ang pakiramdam din nila. Joseph Cruz, Fabre, best regards. Thank you. Tsumuru, watching from Japan. Hello. Ayan, si Joseph Cruz din nagtatanong din. Joseph, na lang. Please, PM na lang. Garedora, hello. Hindi pa natuloy project natin sa mga quarantine. Sigara is very active sa mga pet rescue, sa mga pet adoption at sa animal care, and hindi pa. We were also supposed to do a project, a movie together. Hindi pa lang natuloy-tuloy dahil sa natin, sa situation natin ng COVID, and then yung lockdown, di ba? Sa July, sabi nga, thank you. Ayan, si Joe Fermin, okay. So anyway, Doc is going to be coming on. This is the third time na I'm guesting si Doc dito sa aking combination YouTube channel and Facebook page. Yeah, guys, for those of you who are watching on Facebook, like, and follow, like, and share. Sa mga nasa Facebook, guys, if you're watching it on Facebook, please subscribe to the channel and hit that subscription there, subscribe, and then hit the bell for notifications para whenever there's a new live or a new video, malalaman nyo kung it's on. Sabi ni Demolition, saan po nakakabili? Demolition, may magko-contact sa'yo. Hi po, sabi ni Kang Dantes. Oh, you're welcome, Marvi Ramos Morte, you're welcome. Sabi ni Dang Dantes, sir, kailan kayo magkakaroon ng project sa GMA? Meron actually, so Wednesday may taping, in fact, kasi magkasama kami ni Marina doon, we actually nag-swab test kami kanina. Ayan ang style ngayon eh. Alright, and then si Leng Flores Ong. Leng Flores Ong is asking, paano ang pag-inom ng Ivermectin? Actually, Leng, yung narinig ko na marami, in fact, yung sinasabi ni Doc, for prophylaxis, or yung prevention, naiinom yun ng every 2 weeks. 1 tablet or capsule every 2 weeks for prevention. Pero yung latest is minsan, pag ikaw madalas lumalabas at may threat na you're in contact with people who may be positive, nagiging once a week. In fact, napag-usapan namin ni Doc Iggy Agbayani last time na yung guesting niya, it's a good idea kung first-timer mag-Ivermectin, magdalawang dose. First day, isang capsule. Second day, isang capsule. And then, one more at the end of the week. And then, mamaya susunod na 2 weeks later. Parang ang tawag niya, loading. Para talagang todo na. Sabi ni Archie Dichoso, I got it from Doc Iggy Agbayani mismo. Yeah, si Doc Iggy also. Si Dr. Alan Landrito is and then, luckily, yung meron mga locally who are allowed to compound. Okay. Hi, PM Vasquez. Si PM Vasquez is aking kababata from the Air Force who is a very strong advocate for pet care and for dogs and yung mga taking care of yung mga pets natin. Especially yung mga, especially yung homeless. Si PM Vasquez is one of my good friends from the Air Force, yung parents namin nagka-Air Force. Okay, si Arnieste Emilia Singson. Good evening po, sir. Good evening. Arnieste is watching from Hong Kong. Nita Senarosa from Iloilo. Okay, Mads Dayag, hello. Jonah Michelle Gillen, Aniel. Carmena Fernandez Ray watching from Saudi. Si Herbert Custodio says he was able to get his Ivermectin before sa Lazada pa. Before pa. Medyo ngayon mahirap maghanap sa Lazada, sa Shopee. Puro out of stock. Right? And the big question is there's a lot of opposition para makagamit ng Ivermectin. So actually coming from yung mga government agencies. There's a lot of information going on there na sinasabing it might be dangerous. In fact, but it's very confusing for a lot of people because unang-una itong Ivermectin is not a new drug. It is been existed more than 40 years, and in all that time it was safe. Sa mga studies that have been going around, sa mga lumalabas na may mga studies siya, Ivermectin was more used as an anti-parasitic drug, which was widely used in Africa to prevent yung tinatawag nilang river blindness. Because yung ginagawa niya, pinitigil niya yung replication itong worms. Itong worms na pumapasok sa mata and whatever they damage the eyes, yung Yung worms na yan galing sa tubig, yung contaminated water dyan sa rivers nila sa Africa, kaya nagkaka-river blindness. So for the longest time, binibigay yan sa Africa. It's a cheap, as I remember, yung sabi ni Doc Iggy, itong ivermectin was actually, yung pinaka-main component niya was discovered in Japan. And yan ang pinaka-main component na from that, nakakagawa ng maraming ivermectin. Now, what happened is, itong ivermectin was under patent by yung Merck company, pharmaceutical company, a big company, pharmaceutical giant, and they were very proudly, talagang dami na press release, ang dami nilang dinodonate nila for free to Africa to help the poorest of the poor countries pa nga against yung mga parasitic invasion and such. Okay, wait, let me go back. Si Hernan Reliores, good evening, Hernan. Si Hernan ay isang kasama ko sa low carb intermittent fasting group. Si Hernan, if you look at Herman's page, Facebook at saka sa YouTube, si Dodong Gala, and then also yung group niya, yung low carb on a budget, where he teaches how to, pag wala ka masyadong budget, pwede ka pa rin kumain ng low carb food, maraming choices. Ito si Rechilda Alvarado taking ivermectin for twice a month. So far, okay naman, better. Then sorry, since hindi din lumabas while waiting for vaccine, ivermectin muna. Exactly. That's the point na sinasabi ng marami. Maraming salamat. Let me put that up on screen. Maraming salamat for that comment. Rechilda Alvarado. She's been taking ivermectin twice a month. So yan yung sinasabi for prophylaxis or for prevention, for safety, every 2 weeks. Diba? 4 weeks in a month. So twice a month. And so far, okay naman, better than sorry, since need din lumabas. While waiting for vaccine, ivermectin muna. Eh, diba? The vaccine is coming. Not everybody's lined up, especially kung wala ka sa priority list. Because so far, diba, yung priority list were the frontliners, yung mga high priority figures na who are in government service. Kaya, guys, medyo OA pag nagre-react na kung bakit nakakakuha ng vaccine yung mga ano. I'm not arguing about the safety of vaccine, so what I'm just talking about, wala pa eh. So, just like this sinabi ni Rechilda, why not be able to use something before this vaccine is available, right? So there's been a lot of rumors about it, that one of the most being that itong ivermectin daw gamot pang hayop. And totoo yun, ginagamit sa hayop, but ginagamit din sa tao. Sinasabi nga nila may grade daw, human grade, may animal grade. What we're talking about using for people, of course, is human grade ivermectin. In fact, syempre yung pinapadala noon sa Africa and everything was human grade, of course. Now, what happened is, in the Philippines, ivermectin was registered by the Merck company as a anti-parasitic for human use. Now, eventually, nag-expire yung patent nila. Yung patent nila was what allowed them to be the only one making it. Nung nag-expire yan, nawalan sila ng interest because it was a very low-costing drug. So, of course, yung overhead yung kita, hindi ganyan ka-fantastic. So, they gave up. Hindi sila nag-renew ng registration nila in the Philippines for ivermectin. Because una-una wala na silang packet, so wala na silang exclusivity to make that. Remember, sometime in the 80s, 70s, 80s, yung cellphone, mahal na, di ba? Very expensive yung cellphone. Because only Motorola was the company making cell phones because sila may hawak ng patent. Now, as soon as nag-expire yung patent nila, biglang lumabas yung mga ibang brands. Unang-una, most famous that a lot of us know is Nokia. Nokia naglabas ng mga inexpensive phones. Biglang everybody could have a cell phone because wala ng patent yung Motorola. People were allowed to make cell phones. Ganun din nangyari sa ivermectin. Na walang patent ng Merck, hindi na sila, so they couldn't be bothered. Hindi na sila nag-renew sa ating Philippine FDA. Right? But it still continued to be used by other brands, but mas ginagamit nga for animal use. In fact, a lot of people sa mga farm, sa mga pets, alam nila yung ivermectin. Kasi ginagamit na nila sa test nila because it's an anti-parasitic. Ginagamit sa scabies, sa psoriasis, sa iba-iba. It's been used for very safely for different purposes. Until itong mga doktor realized that yung makaka-apekto siya sa pag-replicate ng virus. So why not i-testing kung magagamit para sa COVID-19 coronavirus? Alright, so yan ang naging question nila. And they tried it as early as last year. A group of doctors, kasi mga doktor ganyan eh, doctors in their desire to help their patients, all of these people suffering from COVID-19, dying from COVID-19, there was this group of doctors who decided, di ba, let us try kung ano existing gamot na nandyan, kung pwede gamitin din. Why not? Kasi baka sakali, di ba? Baka sakali. Kaya ang tawag sa Ivermectin, it is a repurposed drug. Kasi yung main purpose na ginagamit was anti-parasitic nga. Pero repurpose nga siya, so they were promoting it for use with working with COVID-19. Sabi ni Marvy Ramos Morte, I'm also using Ivermectin na din po for general prevention. Ayan, a lot of people are using it. Now, yung nagiging issue ng FDA is the safety, which is what's puzzling a lot of people about sinasabing may safety issues because they haven't tested it, and yet it's been used for it's been used in different countries all over the world. There are other countries that are actually officially using it for their COVID-19 treatment. In all the years that over a billion doses na binigay ng Ivermectin through the years since people started using it, very, very few. I think nasa 1,000 lang na naging adverse reaction or death from using it as compared to so many other medicines out there. Yan ang argument eh. There seems to be some sort of opposition sa paggamit ng Ivermectin. Clarice Guerra Espinosa says, hello po. Diba? Hello po. Hi, Clarice. Jade Stone watching from Singapore. God bless and stay safe. Jobeth Cruz Fabre, check your PM. Si Joe from him, Demolition says, Demolition, Mom waiting for PM, thanks. PM Vasquez says, Dr. Ayan is being interviewed. Yep. Dr. Agbayani, yung friend ko si PM just mentioned now, si Dr. Agbayani is now on, if you have a TV nearby, si Dr. Agbayani is being interviewed now on ABS-CBN's Teleradio, DZMM in Teleradio. So right now is Dr. Agbayani's time. After he comes from that, he will be here on the show. Ivy Lacia or Laxia, Idol, God bless you, always stay safe. You too. Ede Rose Legaspi watching from Santa Cruz, Laguna. Oriza Cabral Nunes, good evening po, Idol. Hey, good evening sa'yo. Good evening, everybody. Our show today is, tonight is going to be talking about the myths. Ang tawag ko nga dyan, IVERMECMYTHS. Kasi may mga lumalabas eh. Sabi ni Clarissa Sigara Espinosa, safe din po ba for kids? Is there any side effects? Very rare, Clarice, what I've heard, very rare is that some people get stomach ache. Because nga, stomach ache or else nagkaka-diarrhea. And yung explanation sa akin, because this is an anti-parasitic drug also, it probably means na baka you had, yung taong nagre-react, baka meron siyang bulate. Diba? Baka meron siyang parasite, kaya nag-react yung tiyan niya. Because, diba? Some people also have reported yung kati-kati about for a week or two after they started taking Ivermectin. Ang explanation din yan is that itong Ivermectin, because it's anti-parasitic, there are probably parasites in your skin na namatay dahil sa Ivermectin. Kaya nagagamit nga ito sa psoriasis eh. may parasites in the skin that got affected kaya namatay sila. And then yung mga dead na kiniklear ng body, yan yung kati. And that's why usually after 2 weeks, nawawala yung effect na yan na kati-kati. And nagagamit, what I've done is nagagamit safely for kids. The youngest have even 3 years old. Pero yan, may guidelines din yan sa, it's all based on body weight. So, kailangan yan. I-check yan. Okay? So recently there have been even official statements, sadly, official statements. We can talk about rin yung sinasabing double speak. Diba? Double speak. Yung double speak is when, diba? Lawrence Tinter watching from QC. Yung tinatawag na double speak or double talk yung tawag nila. Maraming gumagamit niya, especially now. But we hear it a lot in politics. We hear it a lot from lawyers. We hear it a lot from public figures. Double speak is when people say something, but they really don't mean it, or they want you to think they mean something. So sometimes, yung nakikita mo yan sa mga minsan pag tinatanong yung mga tao na, ikaw ba, ginawa mo ba ito? And instead of answering, hindi ko ginawa, or oo, ginawa ko, yung sagot nila is, I have no recollection. Parang hindi ko maalala yun. Diba? So parang yung double speak yan, parang sinabi niya, hindi. Pero he didn't say hindi. Sabi niya lang, hindi ko lang maalala, which means baka may Alzheimer's na sure, yung old age memory loss, diba? Yan ang double speak. He didn't actually say hindi. Hindi niya sinabi oo, pero parang pinaparating niya na it didn't happen. Pero yung basically, sinabi niya, hindi ko maalala eh. Right? Or else, to the best of my memory. So, hindi niya sinasabing ito talagang nangyari. Ito lang yung maalala ko o hindi. So, maraming double speak. I would like to point out, meron yung mga misconceptions, yung kinakalat nila about ivermectin, yung sinasabing gamot pang hayop. In fact, there's one of these lumalabas sa social media. By the way, it came out kanina sa news na yung Hong Kong is looking at passing a fake news law, which I think we really need kasi grabe yung mga fake news na lumalabas na which are designed really to manipulate us into thinking about things differently. And sadly, ivermectin is one of those victims of fake news. May mga kinakalat na misleading, misdirecting, misinforming para matakot ang mga tao. So yun yung sinasabi niya, ang hayop kasi yan eh. O totoo, ang ginagamit sa hayop, there is an ivermectin used for animals and it has been continuously used in the Philippines also for animals, yung mga sakit nila. Now ito yung curious sa akin kasi some people say, baka naman animal grade yan. Baka naman hindi pang tao. Now ito yun eh. I've had pets. I've had dogs, I've had cats. Minsan pag kailangan yung aso o yung pusa ng antibiotics, yung binibigay ng doktor is amoxicillin. Very famous yan, amoxicillin antibiotic yan. Na ginagamit din sa tao. And if you look at that amoxicillin that's in the doctor's office, it is the same type. Walang difference sa animal grade, human grade. Amoxicillin is an antibiotic which both can use. Yung dosage na magkaiba. Siyempre yung para sa pusa, mas mababang dosage niya kaysa sa tao. Now if you're giving it sa kabayo, siyempre mas matapang yun. And that's why you have something where they put out this news saying, ivermectin, it's dangerous to use ivermectin for horses. Kasi you may get some damage. Siyempre kasi overdose eh. Hindi ba yung tao yung sa kabayo? But they try to make you think, because ivermectin is for animals at ginamit mo yan, magkakaproblema ka. Ivermectin nga is used by both people and humans. Diba, ipasok natin yung idea na human grade, animal grade. Which means, diba, why would you give your animal a drug that's supposed to make it well for its health? So why would there be such a thing as animal grade, different from human grade, now which is for health? Why would you have a lesser grade? Parang yan yung pinaparating nila. Animal grade, this means pang hayop yan. It means it's not pang human. So it's not as good or it's not as safe. So why would you give that to your animal? Why would you give that to your pet or to your bigay mo sa baboy mo na that you're hoping to sell? Di ba? Di ba? That begs the question, yan yung mga myths dyan eh. May mga misinformation eh. Hi, Tony. Hello there. Sonia Timpog watching from Paranaque. Hello again. Joe Fermin is watching. Si Joe Fermin, kasama ko yan sa Life Without Rice group. It's a Pinoy Keto 101, where we both do keto. We both came from being overweight and then nag-keto kami. So we're both members there. And then si Joe Fermin kasama ko din yan sa ibang projects eh. And then si Jo also has her own YouTube channel din about learning how to cook pang low carb para sa mga tao who want to become healthier, come to a healthier weight. Right? So anyway, everybody, those who just came in, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the live stream. This is on Facebook, my Facebook page and my YouTube channel. For those of you who are on Facebook, please like. Please share the stream. And please follow. And those who are on YouTube, please subscribe and then hit that notifications bell so that you get alerts whenever there's a new video or a new live that comes on. Like ito, this wasn't scheduled. Kapag-usapan lang namin ni Doc Iggy. Now we have to clear up some stuff because there's a lot of misinformation going around, made by some people who should know better. And I don't know what kind of pressure they're under or what is pushing them that they're actually playing safe. Alam mo? One of the I'll just read there's this I won't say na lang the name para hindi maano sila. But there's this group of doctors that came out with a letter parang saying something again about not using ivermectin. This is in regards to Mike Defensor came out with some doctors, including Dr. Landrito and Dr. Agbayani, and they distributed ivermectin for free to people who needed it. They wrote prescriptions and they gave it. They had a big event. So this was in response to that, saying it was very irrational. And one of the things they were saying was, we understand the desire of many concerned citizens to immediately find solutions to the threats of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, amidst the chaos and controversies we find ourselves in, we call on everyone, particularly the thought leaders of communities and institutions, to stay firm with our resolve to be guided by science and medical information based on robust research. We have to resist being swayed by others despite the absence of enough scientific evidence. Let us also refrain from thinking that we are saving our countrymen from the complications of COVID-19 by giving them remedies that are not proven remedies. We may be exposing them to unwanted and possibly harmful side effects. Their group says that they strongly oppose the dispensing of unregistered drugs like ivermectin for indications that have not been scientifically established. Based on current evidence from randomized controlled trials, ivermectin does not significantly improve clinical outcomes or reduce death among adults with mild COVID-19 infection. In short, ang sinabi nila, walang saysay. Diba? Based on current evidence from randomized controlled trials, ivermectin does not significantly improve clinical outcomes or reduce death. Diba? So hindi niya sinabi masama siya, hindi niya sinabi dangerous siya. Sinabi lang parang it didn't show anything. It didn't show yes or no. Basta walang kaibahan. And Doc Iggy pointed out na yung sinasabi, what they're pointing out is true. Yan yung sinasabi natin, double speak. They're making it sound like all the studies said that. There was just this one particular study. And the study was based on, unfairly, di ba nakikita natin the most people who get badly affected by COVID-19 are yung 50 and above, age 50 and above. Whereas younger people tend to be asymptomatic, not even have any adverse effects, or they even get better on their own. So, but this test, which was done in another country, which they're basing on. They did a test of people using ivermectin, and one group did not use ivermectin, and there was no difference though. But they failed to mention that these two groups are from the same young age group, below 50. So hindi sila high risk, malalakas ang immune system, malalakas ang katawan nila. Talagang there would be no chance to show a difference. Maganda sana kung yung test nila was done on yung mga high risk, yung mas madaling ma-infect eh. So yan ang sinasabi natin misleading. Truly, sabi niya, based on current evidence from randomized controlled trials, ivermectin does not significant. Diba? Talagang na-base nila on that. Just one. But like, yung maraming doktor ang isasabi ngayon, there are more than 50 trials proving na effective siya. And yet, ito, hindi niya sinasabing word by word, but basically, yung sinasabi niya, yung nakita lang namin was this certain studies, kumbaga pinili lang nila yung studies which they can claim as their basis for their decision. Wait, okay. Just a minute, guys. Teka, nandito si Doc Iggy. Hey, Doc. Doc. Hello, Doc. Okay. Sige, send ko yung link. Okay. I'll send you the link. Okay, sabi ni Doc, tapos na daw yung guesting niya sa, I will send the link to Doc Iggy. Sandali lang, everybody. Because I'm so new to this high-tech situation here. I have to write it down pa. Okay, na-send ko na yung link kay Doc Iggy, so we should be having Doc Iggy on soon. Good evening, Lina Launico, Mavic de Los Angeles Mundin, watching from Rizal. Gandang gabi. Carl Derek Kalinga, good evening. I'm just waiting for Doc Iggy to click on the stream and then makisali din siya dito sa na hopefully tama yung pinadala ko link sa kanya. Okay, tama naman ang send ko. So we'll see. So si Doc should be coming on. Hazel Hoxon Perez watching from Moscow. So let me just read this so that yung letter because it's circulating. They circulated it because they said they strongly oppose the dispensing of unregistered drugs like ivermectin for indications that have not been scientifically established. What they have not established. Kumbaga sila, they based their recommendations on the few studies that they decided to choose to base it on, right? Like they said, more than 50 na. Based on current evidence, in addition, ivermectin is associated with side effects such as nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, stomach pain, facial or limb swelling, neurologic adverse events, dizziness, seizures, confusion, sudden dropping blood pressure, potentially requiring hospitalization, and liver injury or hepatitis. We strongly recommend that the prescription and use of the drug ivermectin for prevention or treatment of COVID-19 be put on hold until we have sufficient evidence on its safety and effectiveness. Diba? the thing is, in all these decades na, more than 40 years na, 50 years pa nga daw, sa ano, proven na proven, ang daming studies have proven ivermectin is safe. In fact, kaya siya na FDA approved yan noon, kasi anti-parasitic. So it's not, no problem about safety, but there seems to be some opposition to why it's being presented that way. Okay, si Doc saw it na. And hopefully sasali na si Doc. Good evening, Sir Ricardo Cepeda. Sabi ni Jocelyn Mercurio Tayabas, watching from Fairview, Quezon City. Rob says, good evening. Sorry na late ako. Sa hindi ko tuloy alam ang ano topic today. Watching from Iban, Batangas. Petoralba, we are talking about the myths about ivermectin o kaya yung mga maling balita about ivermectin. And to help me clear that up is, guesting tonight is Dr. Iggy Agbayani. I'm just waiting for him to come in. I'm just checking. Sana tama yung na-send ko sa kanya. In fact, para mas sigurado, I think I will take a picture of that and send it to him. I don't know kung nagkamali ako sa pag-send ng mag-stream ng picture. Let me do this again, guys. Bear with me.
We can talk about something else.
No, he's coming on.
Okay.
Okay, na-send ko naman. So we're just waiting for Doc Iggy to come on board. Good evening, Ma'am Marina, sabi ni Carl. Good evening, sir. I don't keep safe, sabi ni Agnes. Sabi ni Agnes Lingala. So I don't know, guys, if you've heard some of Ruby Di Victorino, if you've heard some Ruby Victorino watching from Pasig City, stay safe. Well, guys, if you've heard some of these stories, like, okay, some of the myths yan, panghayop daw. It is an unregistered drug. May side effects, neurological effects like seizures, confusion, sudden drop in blood pressure. Okay, guys, please welcome si Doc Iggy Agbayani. Hi, Doc.
Hi.
Actually,
Richard, sorry nahirapan ako pumasok eh.
Kala ko baka may humarang.
Technical difficulties.
Kala ko may humarang na naman sa atin eh.
Sabotage.
Oo. Doc, what I was doing is sabi ko sa audience, we're talking about the basically sabi ko sa Hong Kong, kakalabas lang sa Hong Kong that they are going to be studying about making a law about fake news. Dahil maraming mga misleading daw na lumalabas. So Hong Kong is already seriously going to start making law versus fake news. So,
Mhm.
I was mentioning it sa mga viewers na ivermectin is a victim of a lot of fake news and a lot of misleading talk, misinformation, and double speak. Na parang there's a lot of wrong information being passed around. Na I even read this statement na hindi ko naman sinabi kung kanino galing. But it's a group of doctors na sinasabi nila, basically they ended it saying, we strongly recommend that the prescription and use of ivermectin for preventional treatment be put on hold until we have sufficient evidence of its safety and effectiveness. So, yan isang myth dyan, yung safety and effectiveness. Meron din silang sinabing there is uh, not enough scientific evidence and then complications. So, sabi ko, one of the, pag di-discuss natin is yung itong mga myths about ivermectin. Na ma-clear up natin, and some people were asking me, yeah, please, let's hear that and talk about those maklaro. Like, una-una, the one that's come out for the longest time since last year, parang pinapalabas na panghayo pang ivermectin.
Yeah, that's right. It still is. It's
Yeah.
still used for animals, but it's certainly half truth. Not to
Mm-hmm.
mention that it's also for humans. Di ba? Yun ang
Exactly.
explore nga natin, yung tinatawag nating what is half truth.
Right,
And
right.
if that statement, I think that came from the PCP. I'm
Na,
actually quite friendly with PCP kasi ano yan eh, ang father ko, president dati ng Philippine College of Physicians. So I know some of those people there, colleague ng father ko. But of course, younger na itong group na to.
and
But
before them may statement din galing sa PMA na
yeah,
something to the something similar effect din. And basic
tama.
thing that a lot were pushing pa rin was about the lack of studies.
Mm-mm. Well, ganito lang yan eh. Remember, we are in a crisis. It's a health crisis. So the the environment of whether what is enough study, even what is safe nga, medyo pinagkatalunan din yan kasi nga we are in a emergency situation. So what do I
Right,
mean by
right.
that? Just to give you an example of what we are allowing during this emergency situation are the vaccines, for example. Now remember, each of the vaccine has one randomized control study. Although they are very good studies, there's still one. Remember also that the
Just
one
one.
who made, oh, just one. So, ano bang enough? Two? Three?
Exactly.
Di ba? Pero one nga lang
Oh,
eh. Kasi hindi naman
eh,
pare-pareho yung vaccine. So, they have to have one study for
per
each of the
vaccine.
vaccine. Okay. They may have done some studies yung tinatawag na yung mga serum studies. Kunyari, binaksinate ka, kukunan ka ng dugo. You might want to include that. Pero hindi yun randomized controlled studies. Ang tawag doon eh, ano yan, more observational, saka yung, those are scientific studies. I'm not saying they're not, no?
Right, right.
But still, hindi siya randomized controlled. Remember because we are in an emergency situation. Second, safety. We all know that these vaccines are new. Hindi siya polio vaccine, hindi siya smallpox vaccine, hindi siya chicken. Those are different vaccines from this vaccine. So kailangan gumawa ka ng safety study for this particular drug. Uh,
Because wala siyang kapareho eh.
yeah, it's a new one. So tell me, is there a vaccine that's been tested for a year?
Wala pa dahil 1 year pa lang tayo
Wala
eh.
naman eh. Wala pa nga 1 year kasi I think they were tested around October. So in October, yung mga na-test, nalalaman pa lang natin kung may 1 year na. So
Right,
walang
right.
long-term study. Okay, so now
So
I
ito
really
yung,
have to emphasize that we are allowing vaccines as emergency use. Now, kung tatanungin mo, ivermectin, exasperating naman to say that there are 52 studies, 27 are randomized controlled studies.
Ay, Doc, can
And,
we,
and
yung randomized control studies? For
so ibig
the
sabihin nun,
listeners, kung ano yun?
randomized control studies are having two sets of choices for the patient. Pero actually, hindi niya malalaman kung pwede
Which
blinded.
one?
But sometimes hindi kaya. Pero, importante pa rin yung randomize. Meaning, hindi ka makakapili. So, you're
Na,
put into one group na bibigyan ng ivermectin, the other one, hindi ka bibigyan ng ivermectin. So, that is
bibigyan
what
ka
is called
ng,
randomized. And then, depending on what you want to test, no? Yung iba, nag-test sila kung how much yung viral load. Titignan kung mataas yung viral load. Yung iba, titignan kung magkakasakit ba. So, after a certain period of time, may mga sabihin natin, of the 50 people, kalahati na bigyan, titignan na, oh, may 10 na nagkasakit. Maybe we should now reveal kung yung 10 bang yan, galing doon sa ivermectin group o sa non-ivermectin group. So, syempre, kung marami doon sa nagkasakit, non-ivermectin group, it is proof na mukhang protective ang ivermectin.
right.
Kasi nagkasakit yung hindi
galing dun
nabigyan. So, randomize yun. So, kaya siya maganda, side to side. Meron din mga study na, syempre, hindi talaga ganon. Yung observational. Binigyan lang nila ng gamot and then see how it affected the study group. I-compare lang nila sa population. So kung yung population is maraming cases pero doon sa subgroup na to konti, hindi yun randomized control study pero observational yon. So that's also useful naman, hindi naman necessarily not useful yon. So that's how it is na pag meron kang 27, that's quite a lot. They may not be all big 27 randomized control studies, but they're still
Pero gawa ng
27.
iba-iba. Saka gawa ng iba-ibang tao. Hindi lang
Kaya
from the one person.
Hindi lang yun ha. Tama ka. Hindi lang yun one country. It's in a number of countries, multiple countries. So yun ang maganda rin sa ivermectin. Meaning, kahit pala anong situation, whether it's in Egypt, it's in South America, it's in Africa, there would be some kind of positive result that came out of it. Alam mo kung may isa nga, Richard, may mga study na, there are 20 studies. 3 studies show it doesn't work. Maganda pa rin sa amin yun. Ina-accept namin yun. Ito nga, 27 studies. Out of the 27, 1 lang ang hindi maganda yung resulta. 1 out of 27. So, yun ang nakakapagtaka. Bakit not enough?
Oo. Na parang, Doc, parang yung sinabi ko kanina, meron nga ito sa letter, sabi niya, based on current evidence from randomized controlled trials, ivermectin does not significantly improve clinical outcomes or reduce death among adults with mild COVID-19 infection. Parang sabi ko nga, hindi kaya ito yung one study na yan, yung one study that was not favorable, yan ang tinignan, yan ang binasihan. They chose which study to make their statement.
Tama. And that was what I call cherry picking na tinatawag, no? Kasi nga, tignan mo, nung mga March 15, mula pa naman 2 months, they came out with a similar letter. And despite the fact that during that time, may 24 randomized controlled studies na, they only cited 6 studies. 24 na.
Oo.
Pero nagtataka kami, bakit 6 studies lang ginamit nila? Ano nangyari dun sa 18?
18.
So,
hindi nila pinansin yung 18.
Hindi pa pwede kasi yun na nagpipili ka lang, lalo na kung magbibigay ka ng recommendation. Remember, they gave a recommendation not to use it.
Based on
bawal,
6.
Parang hindi ethical yung ginawa na yun kasi how can you make a recommendation based on incomplete assessment of all the studies?
Right.
It's not that if it's not available. For all of those you watching now, you can actually check those studies now. I can tell you what to look for. IVERMETA.com. Magugulat kayo pag nakita nyo na ang dali-dali lang pala makuha. IVERMETA.com. It's there. Kasi nga, para to avoid yung mga ganitong confusion, ginawa yung site na yan. So dyan, may mga meta-analysis. In fact, as early as ano pa lang, January pa lang, naglabasan na ng meta-analysis. Why? Because they felt there were enough studies as early as January this year. Nung time na yun nga, 18 pa lang eh. Sabi nila, okay na yung 18 kasi 18 na eh. Di ba?
Oo.
Eh ngayon nga,
Oo.
how can you even say kulang pa rin when there are 27 now?
Right, right.
So sometimes it begs the to question why they are doing that.
Right.
Diba?
Oh.
And ito pa, biggest news about 5 days ago, na-publish na finally yung meta-analysis na in-author ni Dr. Pierre Gory. Now, to me, it's a good news pero in a pandemic, you don't need to wait for publishing kasi kumisa matagal yan eh. May tinatawag na preprint. So, in fact, one of our critic doctors here in the Philippines said about 2 months ago, ay, wag niyo pansinin yan. Preprint pa lang yan eh. Sabi ba naman ng isang doktor dito sa na anti-ivermectin. To be
Preprint basing parang sabi niya parang lang rough draft pa lang yan na hindi pa na
hindi totoo yan.
Oh, hindi binasa ng editor, walang nag-examine.
Oo. It already happened during the Ebola epidemic. Nag-allow na sila ng preprint because emergency talaga. You have to transmit evidence to as many people as possible. So doon parang, so to speak, na uso yung preprint. And COVID-19 is one of the most, grabe, ang dami pong preprint na studies. To be honest naman, mga 20% of the preprint nag-retract. But
Okay.
Guess what? Even published papers are retracted.
Right.
Kahit na-publish na, pwede pa rin i-retract. So kaya nga yung ruling about publishing is good, but hindi siya gold standard. Hindi kailangan talaga ma-print. But here we are. We have one preprint meta-analysis. Ano kasing ibig sabihin ng meta-analysis? Pinakita na peer-reviewed na yan, na-aral na yan, isa-isang sinala na yan, at present kung paano nila gawa. So yun ang maganda rin sa meta-analysis. And there are 5 if you want to count yung sa WHO, yes, kaya lang ang problema dun sa WHO, hindi na naman nila pinakita exactly how they did the meta-analysis. So it's a little bit unfair to call it a meta-analysis unless they really showed it. And in fact, they only used 18. That was March 31. The WHO came out with their recommendation based on their meta-analysis using only 18 randomized control studies. But I'll give them kasi naman hindi nila sinama yung tinatawag nating prophylaxis. Yung prophylaxis na study, which is strange also. Bakit hindi man lang binanggit ng WHO yung prophylaxis? Samantala may data naman. They could have made some comments at least. So medyo questionable din yun. And even the PAASE, yung Philippine American Academy of Scientists and Engineers, they gave their own assessment comparing yung WHO-sponsored meta-analysis at saka yung ginawa ni Tess Lori. So that was an eye-opener to me kasi nakita ko na, a third party assessing it came to the conclusion na talagang better talaga yung analysis ni Tess Lori kasi she cited how she was able to do the analysis. She cited the number of patients included, and even the certainty of her analysis binanggit din niya. Kaya maganda yung kay Tess Lori. Remember, Tess Lori's meta-analysis, though unpublished yet, was already sent to the WHO. And remember, Test Lori is also independent. Hindi po siya funded by any group. And she did this on her own. So quite unbelievable na may taong gumawa, no? Kasi hindi po mura gumawa ng meta-analysis. It requires teams of researchers.
Right. Yan ang binagtanong inano ko lang, I just put it again na you can see yung mga trials and info for human use at IVERMECMYTHS.com. Yung sinabi mo kanina, Doc, no?
IVMM. Yeah.
IVERMECMYTHS.com.
Yeah.
Tama yan, no, Doc?
Yeah,
Parang IVMeta.com. Kasi may nagtanong dito, where is the clinical trial for human use? Like we've been talking about kanina pa, sabi ni Doc Iggy, there's 27 already. 27. So, bakit makikita nyo dyan? Yan ngayon
may question dito.
Na, which one?
May question dyan, yung Twila. Mukhang interesting yung question. Mahaba yung tanong eh.
Yeah. It nasa screen, Doc.
The argument as regards the manner by which a study was made on anti-COVID vaccine Ivermectin is the vaccine being used for emergency use is purposely anti-COVID for human use. Oh, why? Ganon din naman yung COVID Ivermectin. It was purposely used for anti-COVID for human use. So I think she just hasn't been reviewing the data. Regardless of the period within they were tested and within percentage of efficacy. Of course, importante rin yung time being tested kasi kung minsan lumalabas yung safety issues. So that's important. You cannot just say regardless. On the other hand, while ivermectin has already been existing for years, however, it is registered as a medicine for intestinal infection and for, of course not. Registration is just a paperwork thing na, this medicine. Ivermectin has been used for 35 years and authorized by the WHO as an essential drug. Not for animal use, for human use po. I'm really sorry to say, I'm medyo masungit ako sa sagot dito, but you make these comments like this. At least do some basic research din before you make these comments like this. Kasi obviously you haven't. Where is the clinical trial for human use, Doc Iggy? IVERMECMYTHS.com. I'm sorry to say.
Hindi ba, Doc? Hindi ba yan yung puzzlement mo nga na when these other authorities are saying they haven't seen enough trials, when it's so easy to just go to this IVERMECMYTHS.com and see all of those trials.
See the trials. Now, if you want to see a published paper, yun na nga po. Meron ng published paper but I'm amazed. It's so hard to find it actually. It's not at all easy. If you Google search it, published paper, Ivermectin, Pierre Corey, just ko hindi mo hanap sa Google. Talagang they're really making it hard for you to find it. But of course, I could find it. And it's in the FLCCC website. Titignan niyo lang po nandun. And it's published. Meron pa ba na gusto kong sagutin? I'm sorry, Twila. I've forgot her last name. Maybe I feel a bit parang guilty na medyo ganun na sagot ko. But really, you make accusations din kasi. Para bang as if there's no clinical trial at all. I mean, there are 27 and there are 52 studies. If you're talking about clinical trials, there are 52 studies already. Hindi pa nga randomized control lahat yun.
In connection to COVID-19.
Absolutely. Kasi kung hindi COVID-19, baka you have 10,000 studies already. Kasi na siya. It's been around for 35 years. Di ba? As if it's so hard to do.
Ayan ang comment of ni Twila. And that's what we're doing now, Twila. We're trying to explain it in layman's terms.
She replied, okay, Palagay ko nakaman layman's term nakalagay doon, no? 27 randomized controlled trials. 52 clinical trials. Already, it proves you're wrong. You made a statement without any basis whatsoever. It doesn't have to be a layman's term or anything. Di ba?
So basically, that was her question, di ba, Doc? Her question was, si Twila's question was, where are the human trials? Ayan na, 52. Di ba? 52? With
Yeah.
52 studies, 27 trials na human trials.
I know human trials on use for COVID-19. Yeah.
Right.
And doon pa nga, maganda pa nga, dinivide pa nila pag ginamit late, ginamit early, and ginamit for prophylaxis. Ganun na kasi karami. You can now divide it into different subgroups already. In fact, you go even further, meron pa rin yung peer-reviewed. Kung gusto mo yung peer-reviewed lang, I think there are about 24 peer-reviewed. Ang peer-reviewed talagang na-criticize na yan. So, ano pa? Ano pang gusto mong mahanap? So, alam niyo, importante makita talaga ng layman eh. Because,
Right.
we have this tendency to just believe what the doctor says or the
Or yung fake news niya, Doc.
article
Yung
says,
fake
di ba?
news.
But, these are evaluated also, hindi lang siya nasa website. These are properly evaluated already. There are meta-analysis already. Tinawagan na po isa-isa yan ng mga nagme-meta. When you do a meta-analysis, you even talk to the authors. So yun po maganda ron.
Okay, Doc, so we talked about that. There not being enough studies, and clearly may mga studies, maraming studies. There are so much studies. Kaya nakakapagtataka itong sinulat sa letter na must be based on robust research. And then not enough current evidence. So, ang dami-daming evidence na. So, yun ang isang myth
Kasi,
lang, not enough evidence.
to use the word robust, ano ba ibig niyo sabihin ng robust? Siyempre, you probably want big numbers. Sure,
Right.
maybe they're not big numbers, but yun na nga, it's the totality of studies. In fact, for example, is Israel. I think they only had 20 subjects. Hinati sa 10-10, pero napaka-dramatic yung difference eh. Doon sa nag-Ivermectin, yung sa Israel study, parang almost like 98% benefit ng Ivermectin. So, napakalaki. So, even if it's a small study, sometimes you will have to look at the effect. No? So, meron yung tinatawag na relative certainty. The certainty becomes higher, syempre, pag mas malaki number. Pero kung yung difference between yung placebo or yung is quite big, the certainty also becomes significant. And then, the certainty even is magnified pag maraming study. So, kaya nga hindi na siya 3 studies. Nung 3 studies pa lang siya, I would say, sige, well, let's wait.
Let's wait for more.
Yung 3 studies po, ano pa yun eh? September last year pa yung 3 studies. 4 studies. And in fact, you know what? Peru started using it in September with success. Kasi nandiyan na eh. They were using Ivermectin for anti-parasites for humans. No? So yun nga po.
Okay, sabi ni Doc, pwede bang isabay Ivermectin sa mga maintenance meds for hypertension and diabetes?
I'm sorry. Yes, it can be used for hypertension and diabetes. Kasi, in fact, I would really recommend it for this subgroup of people, yung meron pong diabetes. In fact, I have that. I have hypertension and I used to have diabetes. And I manage it with diet po. And there are some studies now that shows na apparently this group, lalo na yung early diabetes, highly affected talaga ng COVID-19. Medyo severe yung effect ng COVID-19 on diabetics. And we know the data, yung pag 65 years old and above, with comorbidities, there's a higher chance of you dying. Pero now, they're now even more specific now nako, yan pong hypertension and diabetes. Kaya dapat po talaga mag-ingat kayo. And I would really say na hindi lang po ivermectin ang gawin nyo. Make sure you also do something about your diabetes. If you fix the diabetes, most likely you'll fix your hypertension. And the best way to fix diabetes is through lifestyle change and diet change. And si Richard ang the best sa diet saka lifestyle change.
As a low carb intermittent fasting. No?
And excellent example. Look at the specimen of an excellent example.
Ay, Doc, sabi niya, no, itong si Lisa Bustamante, sabi niya, I don't know, but is it okay to take ivermectin after getting a vaccine? If yes, how many days after being vaccinated?
Yes po. Actually, it
Yes,
shouldn't
Lisa.
matter even if you. It shouldn't matter po whether you take it even on the same day with vaccine or a few days after. Kasi po ganito yun eh. Yung ivermectin kasi, it would kill a live virus. So, hindi naman po kasi living virus yung binibigay ng
Ng
vaccine.
vaccine.
Second, ang ginagawa rin kasi nung ivermectin, immunomodulator. So in a way, it can protect you from overreacting to the vaccine kasi parang immunomodulate nga po niya. Medyo may anti-inflammatory effect din siya. It
Pag
certainly
sinabing
can kill the virus.
pag sinabing
Modulator.
immunomodulator, yung sinasabing modulation nga, di ba? Parang siya nagko-control para hindi mag-OA, hindi mag-underreact yung immune reaction.
Yes. So you would like to have that when you get vaccinated kasi nga, di ba, we do know na merong mga adverse reactions sa vaccine. We even hear reports nga na nagkakasakit pa nga ng COVID even after getting the first or even the second dose of the vaccine. So it's not contraindicated. Pwede naman po. And it won't harm the vaccination, neither will it affect the ivermectin. Ba, si Herbert Custodio, I feel young.
Oh. I feel young and energetic si Herbert. Bigyan namin ni Marina yan eh. Actually, Doc, ito napag-usapan natin, parang may mga extra benefits somehow na nakukuha dyan eh. Meron isang...
Opo. That's true. Kasi nga, alam niyo po, meron din mga investigations still ongoing that it apparently can kill other viruses, no? So I was reading some of the literature the other day and meron po doon dengue among so many other viruses po na pwede makuha yun na natutulungan po raw ng ivermectin.
Ito sabi ni Rechilda Alvarado, been taking ivermectin for twice a month. So far okay naman, better than sorry. Since need din lumabas while waiting for vaccine, ivermectin muna.
Again, so far, twice a month
So far okay naman.
Yeah.
So yeah, every 2 weeks, parang every 2 weeks eh. Better safe than sorry.
Now may konting... Meron din akong konting caution. Remember, ivermectin is not a bulletproof thing. Hindi po siya 100%. Although it might be so for some people. Pero I think yung nabanggit kong subgroup, lalo na yung mga diabetic or maybe talagang overweight, may hypertension, they may be the least protected by ivermectin. Or the same might be true even for vaccines eh. Kasi nga talagang yun ang parang gustong-gusto ng virus eh. Yung may diabetes, parang gustong-gusto ng virus yung may diabetes. Kaya wag po kayo masyado ring overconfident when you take these things like even nga vaccine kasi nga hindi rin naman siya 100% or even ivermectin. That's why I've always pushed for yung innate immune strengthening. And that is where you will have to exert effort and a commitment to do that.
which is one of the simplest, Doc, is fasting.
Fasting, yes. Kasi it drives your insulin down. I think the theory is if you drive the insulin down or inactive siya, there will be fewer receptors for the COVID-19. Same way with fat production. If you have lots of yung hormone na leptin,
Leptin,
yun din, delikado rin sa ano yun. Delikado rin sa COVID-19 yun. So yun
mas
po, inaral ko yun
susceptible
noong
yan.
pa, nung mga May. I was reviewing all the literature. Ganun po karaming inaral ko on COVID-19. I really wanted to
Last
find a
year, Doc.
solution. When your life, last year pa. When your life is at stake, when your career is at stake, when your family is at stake, nothing can drive your mind to search for a solution. Eh.
Right.
Sometimes I get insulted. Tinatanong ako, Dr. Agbiani, are you an infectious disease doctor? Minsan I feel, bakit ba masama ba na hindi ako infectious disease doctor? When in fact I've studied so much. I mean, don't you want to know what I know? I'm a doctor anyway,
Oo.
pero guess what? I'm learning even from non-doctors po. I'm learning from Richard. I'm learning from Dave. I'm learning from engineers. And nagugulat kayo, the information I get to know COVID-19 comes from yung mga kwento nung sa Facebook, people who tell their stories about how they got it, how they got better, what are their symptoms. They're all helpful. There's no expert in COVID-19 at the beginning. Right now, siguro meron na. And kasi siyempre, 1 year na rin. No?
We could safely say nga, Doc, na si Dr. Cory is an expert, feeling that he's
Well,
diba?
Dr. Cory is emergency doctor, frontliner. Talagang
Who
alam mo,
deals with
sa mga
multiple
pandemic,
cases.
yeah. In fact, he was the one who supported the use of steroids. Naunahan pa niya, pinagtatawanan nga raw siya, steroids gagamitin mo sa virus. Pinagtatawanan siya nung mga May last year. Now, it is one of the most parang helpful medicines to give. Lalo na yung mga hinihingal na and has shown to have benefit. Kaya lang, hindi nga lang siya antivirus. So,
Right.
meron din siyang konting issues about safety rin. Pero still, it helped a lot. I think it helped prevent the deaths of millions of people all over the world. Because these were discovered by frontline doctors. Hindi po sa laboratory din-discover yan o nung
Hindi po,
scientists.
theory,
Frontline
hindi
meaning
theory.
sila, sa emergency setting, sa ganun, sa pagdating pa lang sa ospital, nakikita na, observe na nila. So I wonder why there's this some kind of yung para bang ng panlalait nila na ako lang ang expert na, are you an expert? You know what? I studied this. I have a diploma. O ganun ako. Ko po.
Pero iba talaga yung
Naman
nandun
ganun.
sa gitna ng laban.
Apo.
Doc, ang tanong
Talaga
ni Joe
importante po
Fermin,
yung malaman.
what's the best time to take Ivermectin?
Opo, I read that it's best to take it with some fat and right after a fatty meal. I think yung may affinity kasi siya doon sa lipophilic siya parang dumidikit siya sa fat. So ma-absorb mo pag na-absorb mo yung fat. Kung walang fat, may chance na lumabas kasi.
Okay.
So yun ang reason But most of our foods naman may fat Unless talagang anti-fat kayo masyado.
So pwede siya any time of the day, Doc. Any time of the day.
Yeah, any time of the day.
Best with some sort of fat food.
Oo. Kasi lipophilic siya. And in fact, yun din ang reason kung bakit wala na sa bloodstream mo yung ivermectin. Nandun pa rin siya sa lungs. Kaya nga nagtataka sila, Doc, bakit every 3 weeks, bakit every 2 weeks yung pagbigay ng prevention? Eh di ba, Doc, ang half-life niya is only 22 hours to 30 hours. Dapat 1 week wala na siya sa dugo. Totoo yun. Pero nga, may evidence po, matagal na tong evidence na to, na nadidetect pa din siya sa tissues ng lungs. Kasi nga, meron siyang lipophilic effect. Nagtatago siya ron. So, protective pa rin siya kahit na 2 or 3 weeks after. Lalo na sa lungs.
Ito na sabi niya. Thank you, Doc Iggy. Very big help to a lot of Pinoy who believe in Ivermectin. God bless. Sabi ni Lisa Bustamante. Tapos si Roxanne Alberto says, people read even on vaccines. Ivermectin has been around for years. The vaccines have been around for what? A year, and yet we trust it. Actually, Doc, we're not talking about anti-vaccine. We're talking about what is this big fuss na parang ayaw nilang parang pansinin o bigyan ng halaga yung tulong na nakukuha, nabibigay ng Ivermectin.
Yeah. Ayoko sana i-compare. However, just to show you how parang difficult to grasp yung concept nila na lacking studies, not enough safety, just to put them in place. How come wala kayong sinasabi sa kung alam niyo naman na single study ang vaccine, alam niyo naman na short-term safety, wala kayong sinasabi. Ito, napaka-safe naman ang gamot. 52 studies. Parang galit na galit pa kayo pag ginagamit para bang papahuli niyo pa kami. Tatanggalan niyo pa kami ng membership sa club niyo. Parang gano'n.
Parang gano'n yan, Doc. Pero yung sabi ko nga, may mga there always, you can see that there's always, somebody brought that up in one of the chat groups, in double speak. When they try to say something, but they're also trying to keep themselves safe from liability. Parang itong sinabi nitong group na to, that their group strongly opposes the dispensing of unregistered drugs. Pero actually, hindi nila sinabing dapat bawal. Strongly opposes lang. Tapos sabi nila, so we strongly recommend. Pero wala sila sinabing dapat hindi. We strongly recommend that the prescription and use of the drug Ivermectin for prevention or treatment of COVID-19 be put on hold until we have sufficient evidence on its safety. I-recommend lang na naman. Parang yung lang nila is recommend. Pero hindi nila sinabi dapat magmura.
Yeah, dalawang issue kasi yan. Hiwalay po natin yung registration doon sa efficacy and safety. Hindi sila actually related.
Right.
Kaya wala po nag-register. Saka alam nyo ba, it takes more than 6 months to actually register the drug. Eh nung pumutok na po yung wala po nag-renew. So, yun lang ang reason.
Oo. Actually, na-point out ko yung Doc kanina, nasabi ko, it was
Richard,
actually registered.
Are you there?
Yes, Doc. Hello, Doc. Doc, hello. Hello? Hindi, Doc. Doc. Parang nagka-problema tayo sa feed ni Doc Iggy. Hello, Doc. Nawala yung stream ni Doc. Hello, Doc. Doc. Ayan, na-affect yung na-affect yung feed ni Doc Iggy. But I'll just go back to that, no? Sabi, question ni Geoffrey Chung. I'd like to ask, is it safe for patients taking maintenance drug? We'll wait for that, no? We'll wait for that. Siyempre, hindi po alam yan eh. We'll wait for Doc to say that. But if you're asking, I don't know if that's maintenance, if that's something about if you were a heart patient. Sabi ni Doc, dapat nga, mas bagay nga sa mga taong may heart, circulation problems, heart problems, cardiac, yung diabetic, mas pabor pa nga na dapat gumamit for safety. Sabi ni Chit Ramos, Doc, ask lang po, meron ako relative with COVID. I hear Doc's back. Doc is back. He's trying to come back actually. Ano kung Doc, are you there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Doc,
Can you hear
wala pa.
me?
Parang hindi mag-connect Here's Doc. Hi Doc, you're
Hi.
back.
Sorry. Alam mo naman, sinasabotage tayo parati. In many ways. Literally and figuratively.
Oh, oh. Medyo sinagot-sagot ko doon sa Doc, yung sinabi ko, we were talking about na actually matagal na siyang register for human use. Napalapse lang yung registration yan. Sabi ko connected yung, I think was it true Doc na Merck ang dati yan? May hawak yung dati yung registered with the FDA.
Oo. Alam mo, ang bait ng Merck eh. During the mga late 80s, they donated something like 3 billion doses of Ivermectin.
For human use.
Nag-donate for human use sa Africa to combat yung river blindness. Saka I think also filariasis. So that was such a big help to Africa. Millions of people were saved of going blind. Now, nakakapagtaka, noong February, naglabas sila ng press release saying that ivermectin is not safe, that it does not work for COVID-19.
The same
Which is
company
odd,
that
kasi
was donating billions of doses.
Yeah. Kasi pala, ganito yung nangyari. Nung time na yun, naglalabasan na yung evidence. Naglabas na ng meta-analysis noong February. Kaya nataranta yata ang Merck because they were coming out with a new drug of the same use as ivermectin for COVID-19. Yung early treatment din siya.
Oo.
So, they would stand to lose big money if ivermectin is really proven to be a drug that can fight COVID-19. So that how significant it is. Kung talaga bang naniniwala ka, hindi siya nag-work, bakit natatakot ka? Di wag quiet ka na lang. Hindi naman pala siya nag-work eh.
Oo.
I think they saw the studies. They came out with a statement. So that is so strange, di ba? Pero they destroyed their reputation. Imagine mo, you gain so much public press, itawag na yung PR, of donating 3 billion doses. And here you are, destroying the same drug that you helped save,
For safe,
by
that
saying
were
it
safe,
as,
di ba? Nasabi nila very safe.
And why? Because the patent has expired in 1997. So kasi
I
hindi na
mentioned
sila
that nga, Doc, eh.
oh,
I mentioned that kanina, Doc, while you were on DZMM. Sabi ko, parang nung araw yung Motorola siya lang may patent sa cellphone. Ang mahal-mahal ng cellphone. So suddenly nagsilabasan when their patent expired, suddenly lumabas ang Nokia and all these other cell phones. Biglang one of the lowest cellphone companies now, Motorola. Suddenly, hindi na siya makano since everybody can do it. Ganun din nangyayari sa Ivermectin nung nawala yung patent ni Merck. Nawala na rin siya ng interest. Which is why hindi nga niya pina-renew ang registration sa ating FDA.
di ba, no? Parang obvious, no? It is so obvious why people want ivermectin out of the picture. Now, I don't know kung pareho rin ang reason ng FDA not to give us a hard time or the same reason rin ng PMA or ng PCP to give us a hard time. It's up for the public to see that. No? And I think I'm just showing you the evidence. I'm showing you that there are 52 studies, there are 27 randomized controlled trials that shows very strong evidence. Hindi po siya 50-50. Na 50 sabi okay, 50 sabi hindi. 98% po sabi okay. Kaya masyado pong overwhelming yung evidence eh. And if there's overwhelming evidence and yet people, even doctors, are still saying it doesn't work, I don't know what it means. Does it mean that you're just like not seeing the facts. I
Choosing
hope you're
not to
not
see,
like
Doc.
Merck. Oh, I hope they're not like Merck.
Pero nga, Doc, it reminds me kasi na dati when I was in a military, there was we used to have, I was in a military school, and there was a loophole wherein we were not allowed to study at night na after lights out, we weren't allowed to use lights. Pwede ka mahuli ng parang illegal use of the lights trying to study. So, yung mangyayari, yung guard would be very noisy pag lumalapit siya to check on lights. And because he's noisy, we would hear it and turn off the lights. So, wala siyang nakitang lights on. And he could clearly write in his conscience sa guard book. Or during my
So what?
stay of duty, I did not see any lights on. Pero yeah, di ba parang nagiging selective na lang para talagang they can say what they want to say, but because they choose to see what they want to see and choose to look the other way, and they can honestly say, oh, I read the studies, and I only read the negative ones, and lalabas yung kanilang stand because according to the studies that we saw, pero they don't say it clearly. They say, as they've seen on these controlled randomized trials, isa lang pala binasa nila.
Ewan ko. And yesterday, I was alerted to a doctor who was claiming na dangerous daw ang ivermectin. And it was cited dun sa itong TV that she cited a study way back 2003 yata and up to 2017 yung study na may namamatay raw sa ivermectin.
Hmm.
So, pati nga sabi ko, I haven't seen that. I would like to read it. If it's real, then I would want to add to my information and maybe warn people na nakakamatay nga yung ivermectin. So, sinare sa akin. Sabi ko, binasa ko. And guess what? It shows that 55 people died. While kasi ginagawa nila sa Africa pala, wala nang doktor, wala nang basta pabibigay lang nila. Wala man lang nag-check doon sa mga tao kasi talaga mass giving lang eh.
Oo.
Community, yung paggawa nila community.
Itong mga
It's not,
na-donate ng Merck.
I'm not sure kung Merck kasi medyo late na eh. Yung Merck yata during the early 90s yun eh. But
They continued.
they found 55 people who died who took the ivermectin. Out of 15 million people.
How many, Doc?
So,
How many out of how many
15 million.
out of 15 million, yung nakita ng death na was how many? Doc, nawala sound mo. Nawala yung audio mo, Doc.
15 million people. Ganun karami. 15 million plus pa nga eh. Na to
15
me,
million.
akala ko tama na yung 15 million. Tapos na yung research ko. I decided to read even more. Can you hear me?
Yes, Doc. Yes.
So I decided to read even further. So what I discovered was, kung sa 55 na namatay, they were drinking alcohol pala. The main reason most of them may have died daw was acute drinking of alcohol. And meron pa isa, using cannabis.
Yung marijuana.
Yeah, oo. So yun ang one of the reasons na nakita nila kaya raw nagkaroon ng effect. Kasi, you know what? We do not want you to take ivermectin if you have liver cirrhosis or liver disease. Kasi parang na tumataas masyado siya eh. Wala kasi metabolism. Baka ma-affect yung brain mo or yung katawan mo pag sumobra kasi walang gana yung liver mo eh. So imagine, konti na nga, 55 out of 15 million. Yung 55 pang yan dahil kasi nag-inuman nung gabi, next day, nag-ivermectin.
So baka naghalo-halo yung ginawa
Oo,
nila.
so again, warning, do not drink. What we learned from this is that ivermectin is not really dangerous. But it's dangerous to mix alcohol and ivermectin. Yun ang dapat na sinabi nung doktor, di ba? If she really wanted to be, on the safe side, you still want to get a drug be used. Useful naman kasi siya. Don't scare people. Kasi parang ang dating nung she was scaring people na, you could die.
Oo.
Number one, napaka-konti ng numbers. Number two, it was because of acute intake of alcohol.
Not because of ivermectin. Parang
Yeah.
na-link lang that they used ivermectin, hindi lang sinabi yung part na nag-inuman sila.
That was based on the study itself. Hindi naman ako nag-invento nun. That was from the study that they cited. So they should have mentioned that also. Again, half-truth. Di ba? Half-truth information. Ang dami po ngayon yan. Ingat po kayo sa half-truth information.
They will use part of the story to make it sound true. Doc, sabi ni Joffrey Chung, I'd like to ask if it's safe for patients. Ano daw, pang epilepsy daw to?
It might have some effect kasi usually mga ganyang gamot, bumababa yung levels niya sa bloodstream. So parang mawawala yung effect ng gamot eh. So it might trigger an epilepsy. But I'll double check po kasi hindi naman po ako walking encyclopedia. But I'm a bit worried pag mga anti-seizure and anti-epilepsy. There's actually a site on you can search it on the internet where you can double check kung anong effect ng ivermectin versus a drug. Parang itatype nyo ivermectin on one side and hanapin nyo po drug interaction site and then put the drug and put it beside ivermectin. But if I remember right, it might be one of those na hindi bagay. Dapat hindi ipagsama rin. Drug interaction nakalagay doon. May mga site pong ganon.
Ito si Doc, sabi niya something about yung si Chit Ramos. Meron akong relative positive with COVID and pneumonia, now undergoing dialysis. Ano kayang reason why he undergoes dialysis? Is this a new treatment to cleanse blood related to COVID?
And they actually, medyo, nga po, madalas nangyayari yan dahil, po yan, effect rin po yan ng COVID-19. Para kasi nag-fail ang organs. Hindi lang po lungs eh. So pag nagkaroon po ng tinatawag na cytokine storm, it could affect the kidney, so they may need to undergo dialysis. So that's one of those things na unfortunately nangyayari. But hindi po bawal pala. Pag kayo po yung nagda-dialysis, hindi naman po bawal din mag-ivermectin.
Okay, Doc, ito si Petural ba pwedeng uminom yung pasyente kahit na positive?
Dapat.
Mas lalo, no?
Mas kailangan po. Mas maganda po siyang gamitin pag positive. Pero ayoko nga pong antayin kasi mag-positive. But the moment you suspect pa lang, na-expose kayo 3 days ago, take it na. Suspect pa lang. And then you can still have yourself tested. Kung negative na, even better.
Wala, may prophylaxis ka pa rin, di ba?
Yeah.
Pero
alam niyo, ang concept ko dyan, alam niyo kung gaano ba kamahal ang isang tablet? On average po, mas mura pa siya sa soft drinks eh. Did you have your soft drinks today? So parang, did you have your COVID-19, your ivermectin today?
May mga Doc, may mga nagbebenta na grabe, may mga kumikita dyan sa na grabe yung pricing nila. Akala mo 1.5 na soft drinks na price eh.
Unfortunately po talaga, it is one of the side effects of not facilitating yung urgent use ng ivermectin. Imbis nga na talaga na monitor nila mabuti, when they should have approved it for emergency use, at least nababantayan pa nila eh. Eh ngayon nga parang there's no regulation because people are hiding it. Because you want to catch them, you want to arrest them. When you know they're doing it not to make profit, they're doing it because they're sick. They're afraid of getting sick. And do you have a medicine now short of yung vaccine? Wala pa nga rin yung vaccine to protect me. Because parang sa akin lang, it's where's our conscience when you're not even offering anything and then you want to punish me when I think something works for me and I take it. Para bang ganun ba? Ganun ang, yun po ang dating sa akin eh. I'm okay, kunyari meron naman talagang option eh. Ito po wala talagang option. The vaccines, wala pa nga ho tayong ilan, wala pa tayong 1% ng mga Pilipino na vaccinate.
Sabi nga ng iba, Doc, yan ang hinihintay nila, na that enough people get vaccinated na saka na lang nila i-approve yung ivermectin.
Parang, sabi nila 2023 pa raw bago mo vaccinate ang... Hindi, I'm not kidding. I saw this on in one of the Facebook page ni Chito Gascon, our Commission of Human Rights. Ang estimate nila bago umabot ng 70% is 2024 or 25 bago umabot ng 70%. By that time, kailangan mo pa-vaccinate ulit eh. Yun ang sinasabi nila eh. Na baka 1 year lang daw yung vaccine ng effect. And we still don't know kasi nga wala pang 1 year.
Correct. Sabi ni Roxanne Alberto, I don't understand why, if they are so against it, why did they authorize 5 hospitals to use it for yung compassionate use? And why Roxanne, why cannot they name those hospitals?
Ganito yung Roxanne. Those hospitals could have easily applied for it even 5 months ago, 3 months ago. That option has always been there. So it's not a gift. Ano tayo ba niyan? Compassionate use is used for mga cancer cases na wala namang hindi gumagaling yung pasyente. So the patient is offered something na di pa approved. So that's compassionate use. So hindi sa akin napaka-significant yun, but for the layman, it seems like they're allowing it, no? Sa akin po, mas significant na it's already been an essential drug for a long time. Mas importante yun kaysa napayagan for compassionate use. Kasi you can practically give, at least with some evidence, dahil wala ka naman bibigyan ka ng compassionate use. This is very different from the reality. Ivermectin has so much evidence of efficacy, enormous evidence of safety. Kaya hindi po ako papayag na yun lang ibibigay nila. Ganito po yun lumulubog. Imagine the Philippines is Titanic. Ayan na. Leonardo DiCaprio. Namimigay ka ng compassionate use. Tigi-isang salbabida araw-araw. Okay. Lumulubog na po eh. Anong dapat gawin pag lumulubog na yung Titanic?
Dapat
lifeboat,
hindi salbabida.
Hindi na po pa isa-isa na compassionate use. Even if you get me 30 hospitals, you could probably just get maybe 100 people to get ivermectin with 30 hospitals.
Ayun nga, yung makakapunta sa hospital, as it is, hindi nga makapasok lahat sa hospital eh. So, problemado pa how to even get it from the hospital.
Yeah. And remember, sa data nga, sinong na hospital, around 1 to 2% of the population lang who get COVID get into the hospital.
So, kahit bigyan yan dyan sa hospitals na yan, you still only get that 1 to 2% lang na sila lang naka-ivermectin.
Yeah, hindi ka naman pwede pumunta sa hospital. Di ba ito yung yung may compassionate use. Pwede ko ba bumili dito? Hindi po ganoon eh. It's specific to a patient in the hospital. Kailangan admitted po.
Ano yung question dito, Doctor? Yung follow-up question ni Fetoral ba? Kasi yung, kung pwede bigyan daw yung positive na patient ng Ivermectin, pero meron siyang dagdag. Kahit may catheter siya, dahil meron din siyang prostate. Pwede ba siya operahan ng prostate kung positive din siya?
Kung emergency po, pwede. Pero kung hindi emergency, I do not recommend na operahan pag positive.
Kasi
So,
masyado
yun lang
mahina.
po. No? Kasi mas mataas po yung chance mamatay pag naoperahan kung positive. Ginagawa lang po yun, kunyari life-threatening yung situation na pag hindi mo naman naoperahan, mamamatay.
Itong si Lovely Rose Makahilo, Doc, ilang Ivermectin per month ang ideal na pag-inom? I think yung standard was
Ideal means kasi po depends on the situation. If there's a prevalence of cases now, syempre dapat mas madalas. Kung talagang punong-puno yung hospital, I would recommend nga po every week eh. Once a week kung punong-puno yung hospital.
ibig
Kasi
sabihin
kawawa ka
talagang
talaga.
dumada na.
Oh, what if you get sick and you can't even go to the hospital? Now, kunyari lumuwag, konti na yung cases, I would recommend siguro once every 3 weeks. At least you have a fighting chance. Also, I really make it a priority na bigyan yung matanda, 65 and above, yung may hypertension, yung may diabetes, yung may heart disease, yung may immunocompromise, yun dapat priority binibigyan. So, it depends on those factors po. Prevalence, risk of the patient of dying or getting sick from the disease. So, on average po, siguro okay po every 2 weeks, pero i-adjust nga po depending on those factors.
Meron yung ano, Doc eh. Ay, may mga nagtatanong din, Doc, yung sa children. Di ba? Pwede naman sa bata. In fact, I think yung youngest was 3 years old, yung nabigyan ng Ivermectin.
Pwede po kung may sakit na. Pero I don't believe in giving prophylaxis to children unless yung bata nakatira with an elderly. Kasi po, una-una very resilient naman sila. Pero siyempre, kunyari sila magkasakit at matsyempuhan ma-expose sila sa matanda dahil katabi nila sa kwarto o ano. I would
Same
probably
household.
I might probably consider giving children. Otherwise, hindi talaga priority dahil mababa rin talaga ang chance na makuha nila. In fact, that's one of the reasons I want schools to open. Kasi mababa po talaga ng chance magkasakit yung bata, then mababa rin yung chance na ma-hospitalize siya. I'm not saying it's not impossible po. Pero I think yung risk din po na hindi pumapasok yung bata, ang dami po ng problema sa mga bata, suicide, mental health issues, their social growth, even their education is suffering. So, kunyari may risk yung bata, pwede naman sila muna yung mag-homeschooling. Samantala yung mga batang malalakas, sige pumasok na dapat. And then caution lang po pag nakatira sila sa may bahay na may matatanda, sa may sakit.
Doc, tinatanong ni Marina Benipayo, yung aking wifey. Can Ivermectin also be
May
used?
asawa ka na pala?
May
Parang
apat na
narinig
anak.
ko, di ba sinabi mo parang wala pa nung, kailan ba yun?
Hindi ako yun, Doc.
Ako pala yun.
Oo. Sabi niya, can it be used for
Yeah,
psoriasis?
Berina. Hello, Berina. Yeah, pwede po. Siyempre, all drugs have a potential for allergy naman. Kasi, number one, hindi naman siya pure ivermectin. May binder din siya. So, maaari kuminsan yung binder pa lang cause.
Pero yung tanong niya, Doc, kung Ivermectin can be used for skin allergy.
Yeah, apo. Pwede. Kaya lang nga, kung baka may allergy rin sila mismo sa gamot. Psoriasis po kasi, well, it's not exactly an allergy eh. Psoriasis parang autoimmune problem yan eh. But guess what? I'm hearing I saw some studies about autoimmune problems then. Could be helped because immunomodulator nga po kasi ang ivermectin. But don't quote me on that po. I will review that about psoriasis. But I think it has potential lang. Potential.
Tapos sabi ni Carlo Tabios, makakahawa ba ang positive pag mag-ivermectin?
Potentially yes pa rin. But kasi kailangan mapatay muna ng ivermectin yung virus, kailangan makontrol niya muna bago hindi nakakahawa. So kung bisa nga, may mga cases ako no, na overweight pala siya. Sabihin niya sa akin, 70 kilograms siya. Pero nakita ko yung picture, tinanong ko, talaga bang 70 kilograms ka? Sa picture, parang hindi. Ay, Doc, baka mali nga. Baka mali nga. Dodoblehin mo. So, yung pala na underdose. So, hindi siya gumagaling.
Yung pala, yung in denial siya sa weight niya.
Oh.
Kasi yung
Sabi ko, mag-weigh ka ulit.
Body weight, you know?
Sabi ko sa picture, hindi mo ka 70. Mag-weigh ka ulit. Oh, yun, 90. So na-underdose kami. So kaya pala hindi gumagaling. So some of those reasons din, you make sure na tama yung dose na binibigay. Ganito po ang dosing yan eh. Para siyang 0.2 milligrams for every kilogram. So kung ikaw 70 kilogram weight, bagay sa'yo ang 15 milligrams kasi times 2 eh. Di ba? So 70 times 2, parang ano yun, 14 milligrams ang kailangan mo. Kaya tuloy, pag ikaw naman ay 90 kilograms, kung isipin mo, ang kailangan mo 18 milligrams. Kulang ang 15. Ang ginagawa namin, pagtataka kayo, dinadoble na namin, hindi na namin pinapahat. Alam niyo kung bakit? Mataas kasi ang safety profile ng ivermectin. May study po na kahit 10 times the recommended dose, safe pa rin siya, wala pa rin side effect. May study, hindi masyado marami yung sample size nila. Parang 136, 39 nila bigyan ng mataas na dose. At okay pa rin. Ang endpoint nila, pag yung pupils lumalaki na, tama na, hindi na, wag na raw bigyan ng extra panggamot. So reversible naman kasi yun eh. Pero parang yun ang malalaman mo kung nag-overdose ka na. Kaya sometimes kung kayo po ay nagbe-blurring of vision, it could be that, no? So it may be a good idea to inform your doctor na baka kailangan hinto muna yung gamot o i-adjust. But again, it is not a permanent thing, yung nagda-dilate or midriasis po ang tawag doon. Imagine 10 tablets.
10 times.
Okay pa rin. Kunyari nga ikaw
which goes to that one of those myths about ivermectin na mga pinapalabas nila na if you take too large a dose, it can lead to damage of your liver, to your kidneys, to your any medicine naman pag in-overdose mo na todo-todo, di ba? Magkaka-damage naman talaga.
Tingnan nyo, ang tingin nyo ba paracetamol safe? Alam nyo ba kung ilan lang namatay? Ilan lang namatay sa United Kingdom, saka sa, I think, Ireland, sinama nila. 14,000 ang namatay over a span of 15 years.
Ito yung paracetamol, Doc. Ito yung nasa Biogesic, nasa BioFlu, nasa...
Because meron din talaga nagpapakamatay using that eh. So if you take 10 tablets of that, kasi nagtataka rin naman ako ba't kayo inom ng 10 tablets ng ivermectin din.
Oo.
Di ba?
Kasi Doc, yung half-truth na naman yung Doc, yung nagwa-warning siya. If you read finally, it says, if you take the ivermectin, it can cause if you take ivermectin for horses. Kasi siyempre sang katutag yung dose naman ng horse kesa sa tao.
Unless kabayo ka.
Oo.
Di ba? Sige nga, mag-inject ka ng 10 injection ng vaccine. Sige nga. Sino magta-try ng 10 vaccine? I'm sure tatamaan ka rin ng grabe. It's not a fair thing to do eh. Kasi
Mhm.
talagang long safety study na nga siya. Pero may study nga na trinay talaga nila na 10 times the dose is still safe.
So ang daming mga misinformation, mga myths na pinapalabas na that we talked about, Doc. Yung sabi niya, it's not it is not registered for human use, and yet for more than how many years ginagamit yan for human use. Actually, yung tinutukoy lang nila not registered for COVID, but yung tinatanong yung safety. And then so it's very safe. Sabi niya, if you take too much, yung pala yung definition ng too much nila, parang gusto nila uminom ka ng isang balde para maging magka-effect. So there's so many misinformation being spread, half-truths para matakot ang tao. Na hopefully dito sa broadcast na to, we were able to clear it up for some of the people listening. At sa mga tao who later watch this as a video, sana nakatulong ito. I'm gonna have to end it kasi si Doc Iggy has had a very busy day. In fact, naurong nga yung time natin with Doc Iggy because biglang tinawag siya for information sa isang news channel sa mainstream media. Now there will definitely be replays of that also. So Doc, maraming salamat for making the time to share again. Third
Pakinggan niyo
episode
si
na natin to.
Richard. The best yan si Richard. Diet, lifestyle. Tignan nyo, kitang-kita ebidensya. Saka talaga yan, very honest, trustworthy. So, more success to you, Richard. And keep doing what you're doing.
Ayun, salamat, Doc. Salamat. Sana maulit, Doc, para we can clear up a lot of these misinformations happening para makatulong sa mga kababayan natin and to the rest of the world. Thanks, Doc. Salamat.
Thank you. Okay, bye. Thank you, everyone.
So everybody, that was our broadcast. We had Doc Iggy Agbayani. We were clearing up a lot of these misconceptions and misinformation about ivermectin. Una-una, ivermectin is not the one that we're spreading. It's not panghayop, pangtao ito. It has been proven safe. Sabi nila, there are not enough studies. 52 studies for use of humans for use with COVID-19. So safety, it's not for animals. Wala siyang yung mga sinasabi nila, it can cause all of these different walang mga ganun eh. So maraming salamat. We will definitely do another of these lives again when we can squeeze it in with Doc Iggy kasi si Doc Iggy napakamaraming interviews and for his time, and salamat si Doc Iggy has given the time to come here. For those of you who are not aware, si Doc Iggy is a medical doctor who is a orthopedic doctor, and si Doc Iggy actually contracted COVID-19 last year, and that's why he had first-hand information kung paano nakatulong sa kanya and his family, and that's why nag-full blast. So yung sinabi ni Doc Iggy why talagang masasabi niyang alam niya because talagang research siya yan because his life depended on it, and that's why he's sharing it para sa mga taong who don't get the right information will have the right information. And that's why sa akin din I make it a point to share it also because in everything we do, in every situation, there's always a solution. I just want to end this now with yung aking favorite thoughts of affirmations na binigay. This one says, God is able to bless me abundantly so that in all times and all things, having all that I need, I will abound in every good work. Ayan ang sharing natin. Affirmations for this broadcast is God is able to bless me abundantly so that in all times and all things, I have all I need and I will abound in every good work. So guys, sana you enjoyed this. Sana this was helpful for all of you. Sana makatulong ito. This will be available on video for those who are watching on Facebook. Please like, share the stream. Please follow. And for those who are watching on Facebook, please subscribe to the channel and click on the notifications bell so that you hear and get notifications when there's another live and there's a video. We'll be doing this regular broadcast on the channel and on the page every Wednesday and Fridays. But sometimes when there's just some subject that has to be covered quickly or some other to be talked about, I'll be here with Wifey Marina, and we'll do it on other days. Pero may regular Wednesday and Friday. Thanks for joining us, guys. God bless and keep safe.